Dr. Melhem, you have responsibility, it says clinical support services. Do you have any responsibilities for overseeing research?
No, I don't.
So you would not have known any of this information anyway, would you?
Sir, the information I got is the specimen that were in the freezers.
You would not have known about the research information.
The information I had is that the specimens that were kept in the freezer had patients' identifications, including first initial and 4 letters of the Social Security.
But you had no idea that what type of research that this dealt with.
Sir, I am a researcher.
I know.
And I've
that's
been
not
a
your
researcher for many years.
That is not your responsibility.
That is not my responsibility,
Good.
but
So
I know a collection when I see a collection.
You know a collection, and you spent a lot of time in their lab?
I did spend time looking through the freezers and asked several times of the director who is actually answering to me.
How much time did you spend looking through their freezer?
Well, I looked at the freezers. I determined what belonged to the catalogs that we had and what did not belong.
How much time did you spend, was the question?
Well, I was
in
the freezer a couple of times.
1 hour, 2 hours? Or are we talking about 30 minutes or 15 minutes?
Probably a couple of times, a half hour or an hour
A couple of times for a half an hour. Thank you. You know, when I was a young reporter, I worked for a news organization that hired me to go to press conferences and rewrite statements by politicians, rewriting their press releases and supposedly covering the news. And I took it upon myself to actually go out and investigate some stories on my own. You know, I never had any appreciation from my bosses for the public service that I was actually providing by investigating corruption in our city. Because that wasn't their job. Their job is to rewrite press releases and fill copy. Excuse me if I don't notice the same sort of lack of appreciation. Have any of you, and you're all doctors and researchers and such, have any of you had the accomplishment of finding the source of a bacteria that was causing thousands of people or risking thousands of people to lose their lives? Have any of you reached that plateau yet in your career? Or is it that you're just looking through the refrigerators of people who are involved with that type of activity? I said earlier that we in Washington we have to deal with a lot of bureaucratic problems. I certainly identify today, after your testimony, that we've got a bureaucratic attitude problem. Someone didn't ask permission, and this is my area. Listen, I've got to tell you, this is I can totally identify with what's going on. I know I can sense the personality problems that arose when someone didn't ask permission. You know, I'll have to tell you, Dr. Moreland, you're complaining that they have a commercial client group of people that they complained? They're servicing the health needs of certain people in the community. You think that's something to complain about? They were offering a service to identify a deadly bacteria to the community. Is that what you're complaining about?
Well, sir, what I would respond to that is that the VA has a very specific mission to take care of veterans.
That's right.
And there are multiple commercial laboratories
that do
the exact
same testing. You're talking about the bureaucratic lines, and you're upset that the bureaucratic lines were stepped upon by these people. Now, by the way, they may well have not been, they've been out of the borders. I understand that. And I understand your job is to make sure this thing runs smoothly. Take a look at the bigger picture here. What you're thinking of is a rogue element of scientists looking in through their microscopes without permission. The rest of us may look at it and say, hey, my uncle was saved because of what this lady did. I will have to tell you, I think this type of bureaucratic attitude comes with the job. I'm not blaming you as individuals. You've been given a responsibility to try to make a huge organization and a huge budget make it work. And I understand that, and I respect that. I think that when people have that type of responsibility, quite often they can't see the forest for the trees of what the purpose of all of this is. It's to save people's lives, trying to make the world a little better, and these aren't rogues. These are people trying to do a good job, and